Stand, please.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for those who come out tonight, Lord. We thank you for this meeting. Thank you for our county. Lord, we thank you for what you're doing for us, even though we might not see it, Lord. We just pray over our county, your people, Lord, and over this COVID situation. Lord, that all things be done through you and your will be done, Lord. Lord, just thank you tonight, and we just go with this meeting. We give you praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Face the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. I want to back up now and call the meeting to order. So, the Board of Commissioners work session for February 25th, 2021 at 6 p.m. The meeting is now in session and we are now in order. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Anyone? Okay. We'll move down to item 2, which is the items for discussion and the Department of Social Services report. Bree, if you would, please.
Good evening. How's everyone today?
Good.
Good. I had submitted the report for 2020. Did everyone get that in their packets?
Yes.
Are there any questions from the report I submitted? There were just a few things that I just kind of wanted to highlight for the year of 2020. The first is talking about the food stamps benefits, the FNS benefits that were received in Swain County. The total was $3,481,222 for 2020. That would have included, back in April of 2020, everyone got the maximum amount regardless of their eligibility qualifications, and a monthly supplement. Of 2021, in January, there was a 15% increase. So everyone who is currently on food stamps at this time is getting max benefits, the supplement, as well as a 15%. That number seemed very high to me. That's one of the reasons I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention today. Being with the Department of Social Services, unfortunately, we're still seeing a need for food supplements within Swain County. When we go to foster care and doing some of the stats for the past year, in 2019, we took a total of 10 children into custody for our county. In 2020, that jumped to 24 children in our custody. Currently, as I stand here today, we have 55 children in custody in Swain County. That doesn't include, we have a program called an 18 to 21-year-old program. That is a program in which children who age out of foster care can actually sign up as a contract to still be under the guidance of Swain County Social Services, and we have 3 young adults in that program. The Adult Protective Services reports, in 2019, we received 108 of those reports. In 2020, we received 133. We are seeing an increase in adult protective services. I think when everyone thinks of adult protective services, they immediately go to the elderly population. We're actually seeing a lot of younger population within our adult protective services reports. And last but not least, Child Protective Services. In 2019, we received 382 reports. In 2020, that jumped to 410 reports. And I can just tell you that 2021 has not slowed down at all. Personally, I can't wait for school to be back in because I do fear for those children that no one has seen during this pandemic.
Just one question, do you, I assume y'all in some way keep up with the number of homeless in Swain County? Do you have any idea of the number? Is there anybody that keeps up with that number?
I don't know of
There's
anyone who does.
Okay.
There may be some type of count through the Restoration House because I know that they serve a lot of that population within Swain County, but unless they come through our building, we really don't know, and I don't have really any way of keeping that data.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask you
Go ahead.
that.
Sure.
What do you attribute the rise to? The pandemic and being at home and people out of work, just a lot of different contributing factors out there?
Absolutely. The stress of the pandemic in itself, people not having jobs, the not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring. We've also seen, as far as Child Protective Services, we've seen an increase recently, and I think that that's because things are starting to pick back up, and you know, the governor's lessening some of his restrictions as of tomorrow, and people are going to have to go back to work, and it's just a really stressful time, and that's my opinion of why things have increased.
Kevin, have any questions? I think what we will do is accept the report as given. If you have any questions, I'm sure you would entertain questions from the board at that particular point.
Absolutely.
Okay. By
I'll make a
acclamation.
motion that we adopt the
Okay, we
report.
got a motion on the floor that we adopt this report as was given to us. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to adopt this report as given. Anybody have any other questions? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
good afternoon.
Thank you.
B is the interest resolution.
Yeah, so on your desk, I put a copy of the one that we did in 2018. And I just wanted to know, I guess, some clarification on how we need to proceed. I think we've had several communications with some legislators about meeting with the state treasurer. One had indicated he would like another resolution or a resolution asking for assistance. Just wanted to follow up with y'all about if you wanted to go that route or if we just needed to work through our other legislator to get a meeting.
Right.
So,
Well, we have, yeah, you're right. We have some contacts made with other legislators. Representative Clampett asked for a resolution. And in my mind personally, gentlemen, I think that if we give him what he needs, then he can move in whatever direction he wants to move, because we've met with Senator Corbin, and the two houses operate differently. And so I think we need to wait for Corbin, but Mike, Representative Clampett has asked for a resolution from this body to, so his office can get involved as well. And I would hope that they work together in keeping each other informed as to what moves are being made from their offices. So I think that we need to take a look at another resolution, we won't pass it until the next regular meeting, but I think we need to take it one. And in looking at this resolution that we passed in 2017 with a little bit of juggling of wording, I think we can make it work. Anybody have any questions on that? Or if you want to take it and look at it, because it was passed a year ago, take it, look at it, get back with either me or Kevin King and go with it. And I would again state that I think we need to make adopt the resolution. And if you have any questions, please get with me, because as Mike has told us, it's hard for me to call him Representative Clampett, but he earned the title. So Representative Clampett has asked for not a unanimous, so you need to be comfortable with it by next meeting so that we can talk about it or debate it or whatever you need to do to get comfortable with it. Any questions or comments on that at this point?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
For the, what exactly are we, he wanted the resolution to give him authority to go ahead and talk to the treasurer?
Treasurer, yes. About, we need a third vehicle for the treasurer's office to invest the money from Swain County. That's what he needs the resolution to state, that a third vehicle to invest, because we've got two, but they're so low in interest that we're missing out on a heck of a lot of money.
So all he wants is a resolution giving him the authority
Permission.
to start the process.
Right, well, permission to use his office to get to the treasurer's office.
Because I know we're limited on time. We're not gonna make any changes to any laws right now, or can he introduce this, the time for introducing the bill?
This particular one, yes, because it has to do with funding, and so that's part of the budget process. So yes, you can. This wouldn't be considered a local bill. So what I would, on the back page of that, basically number one has been done.
Right.
Number two is the one that we're still asking for, that was not a part of that fix that we did in 2019. And so that would be what I would keep in there. And then I guess just a simple statement that we would like to ask the legislators to, whatever means possible, to
Right.
get this remedy for us,
Right.
whether it be legislative or just working with the state treasurer's office.
Whichever serves us better, I think, is the way we would want to go. So if working with the treasurer's office, as you just said, if he can do it, I see no reason to get caught up in the legislation of the process, of anything. But we need to find that out before we can move forward. Okay, any questions on that? Are we ready to move on? Okay. Well, you can just keep going, Mr. Manager, it looks like, so.
So I know that they had an article about the pool in the
Paper.
paper today. It
Yeah.
looked pretty good. But we are really moving forward big time with that project. So we're fingers crossed everything's going to go as proceed.
So we said in the community it's May. Are we looking at the beginning of May or the end of May?
We're hopeful beginning, but it's probably going to be closer to the end.
Okay.
I mean, the company's not actually come in. Every piece of work that you've seen has been our crew up there doing it thus far. So we're waiting on a couple things, but we're doing our part. Our part will be finished 100%. But the company that we hired have not. They've not come yet.
Right.
So until they get boots on the ground, it may be a little bit difficult, but anyway, and depending upon weather.
Well, and I just think that the community just needs to know, if we say May, we're talking beginning or the end, and I think it's safer to say the end.
I would say that would be much
So,
safer. Yeah.
Okay, good.
The thing I handed you was a budget amendment number 5. This is, I was gonna just discuss a couple items on here. Well, I'll go ahead and go through all of it where you would have information for the next meeting. So, the first one, cooperative extension, 47,000, that is a grant, that they had gotten for a commercial kitchen, for one of them. And then the Family Resource Center also got a grant for programming of 20,000. And then the Nantahala Health Foundation gave 27,000 for the commercial kitchen. Registered deeds excise tax, we have had a tremendous increase in the amount of recording and transactions, and this is basically the state portion of the excise tax, so you'll see that's an in and out, so if you look at the revenue down below. Building grounds, 131,000. This is for the library renovations / insurance fire that we had back last summer, and so we're just now finally recouping a lot of that through their insurance company. Coroner, during this pandemic, there has been a lot more need for autopsies, and so that has increased significantly when our normal budget's about 10,000, and so we had to put an additional 15 in there to make it through the rest of this year. I'm not sure if what's causing that exactly. EMS contracted services, this is our billing company, and we've seen a lot more activity with our ambulances this year, and so we're providing more services, and we contract out all of our billing services for that, for the EMS. Bronson City Fire Department, West Swain Fire Department, both are allocations from the Public Safety Capital Reserve Fund, and this is the fund that y'all give to volunteer firemen and their organizations each year. We give them $40,000, and they can request it back, so through the Public Safety Capital Fund. Southwestern Planning, this was a fee that we kind of got the bill late last year, and so it lapsed over into 2021 rather than 1920, and so we paid it this year. Should have been paid for last year, and so we're having to add more money to it because this is this year's pot, which is $10,518. Special appropriation broadband match. This is the $50,000 that I've been mentioning about using some of the COVID funding that we received this year for increased broadband capacity for our area. Working with a nonprofit organization to hopefully leverage a lot more funding for increased broadband. The next one we had discussed, I think during the budget process, budget meeting the other day, or maybe at a previous meeting, about looking at a bonus structure for all county employees for this past year. We did receive $759,000 of COVID funding. Some of that funding was used for salaried positions, and so basically there was money left over in the budget from last year that went into fund balance that we could pay a bonus pay, and that's $148,000 for that, and it would be $1,500 per employee is what's on this sheet, and I think that was what was discussed earlier. Under administration, this is $50,000 for health insurance. We are a self-funded plan, and we've had several individuals that have been in extended stay hospital situations that's increased our amount that we're having to pay. So I'm asking right now for $50,000, and I don't know, I mean, as the time goes on, I think we're still in pretty good shape, but you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So we're just in a hope and wait situation. Transfer to Human Services and transfer to Sanitation both are part of the bonus as well. There's a certain portion of that on both those different ones that we would get some funding back from the state and federal sources for those people. So In total, the whole budget amendment is $733,518, and the Human Services Fund is $114,000, and then the Sanitation Fund is $12,000. So I did want to bring up, so you've gotten letters from, I think you got a letter from the Health Department talking about the impacts to their staff as far as COVID. Have had several conversations with other people that have had contact with, the public. We've had 16 cases. The majority of those have been because of impact or contact with the citizens that they're helping. So it is this would be considered a incentive bonus pay. And then I would recommend that any other funding that from the state or federal agencies that any department got, that we would give them this $1,500, and everything else, if they wanted more, they would have to go back to that entity to get their money. And then we're done as far as that goes, because there's been a lot of debate and discussion about, if I get this grant, I can just do whatever I want to with it. Well, it's up to the funder, not the another organization shouldn't dictate policy, county policy on our organization. And so I think I've made that comment before. So anyway, this is $1,500 per employee for every eligible employee, every eligible full-time employee is what this is. So anyway, and that's for y'all to discuss. If you want me to modify it, that's fine. I just need, we'll kind of have some direction and that sort of thing, or we can just put it on the agenda next month and y'all can vote on it, however you want to do it.
Any questions?
Yes.
Oh,
On
yeah.
this, the COVID money that this bonus is, I didn't think we had any policy to pay any COVID.
There's no, it's COVID impact basically. It's you can do a bonus just like y'all did Christmas bonuses.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is this is coming from fund balance, okay? So basically last year we had funding coming in from state and federal sources, and we utilized full salary of people like sheriff's office, paramedics, health department, some of the other essential workers during the time we were, had some closures. And so what happened was we used their 40-hour week salary, which the county was paying for, to match some of those dollars. So that freed up the money that was in the budget. So it went into fund balance. So what I'm saying is use the money that went into fund balance for this purpose.
Is this one of those things, so it's our money that we don't send it back if we don't use COVID money?
Well, we used it. We supplanted, we supplanted last year's county budget and had a savings, basically. And so we're using this savings for its purpose. That was, the money was designated for, which was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no strings attached. We don't have to send any reports to the state or anything like that. That's already been, the state report's already done. We've done everything we're supposed to do with it.
And we have already done certain things to help county employees through this COVID also, hadn't we? We gave them
80 hours
80
of
hours,
sick leave
sick
twice.
leave
Yeah.
twice.
Yep.
And a little more bonus.
Yeah, and this was, the 80 hours was more for trying to keep people working,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, without jeopardizing the safety of the other people. So we wanted we encouraged people to stay out if they didn't feel well, until they got the test. And so we wanted to pay them that time that they did. We were asking them to stay out until they got their COVID test and it was a negative test. So.
And with the letter from the health department, what is the job? Why do we have a health department for cases like this? This is the reason of having one, correct?
This is a function of the health department,
This
yes.
is why we have them for communicable diseases and stuff, so that's the whole purpose of having them.
Yeah.
That's why we have 4 situations like this.
Yeah.
And did all this come about from one group wanting bonus pay and then other people wanting bonus pay? Because there's lots of people in the community that can get no, they're not getting bonus pay neither. So there'll be lots of people, you got people that work at stores and gas stations, other essential jobs that's not getting a bonus pay.
So
Doing their job.
where a lot of this conversation came from was there was a specific piece of grant funding that came through the Board of Election, or that came to the Board of Election. As you know, those are county employees, have to go by county personnel policy, and they wanted hazard pay. Well, we do not have a mechanism. We don't have a hazard pay policy in effect with the county right now. So we couldn't pay the hazard pay. And then basically the state wanted us to pay it anyway and retro back an emergency policy just for one department. And that's really what happened. And so, and the bonuses they wanted, I think they wanted $7,000 for the director, $5,000 for an assistant, a part-time assistant, and $1,500 for the deputy director. And that's what they had requested from y'all. And so that's what really started the dialogue on the definition of hazard pay, the equity, when you're talking about people that are interacting with COVID patients, for instance, paramedics and our health department staff, even DMV. I mean, we've had a lot of our folks have gotten sick because they have had to stay an essential worker. And so this is what this is about. It's making it more equality as far as across the board, more equal for all county employees, since you know, that's basically where it comes from. So, but yeah, that's, to answer your question, the health department did hear about that situation, and they have indicated that they would like a bonus as well. And also our paramedics have too, so.
So bonus essentially is hazard pay.
If you want to determine that.
Well,
I mean, it's not what it is, but you.
it's a bonus. We're not paying for a hazard.
Right.
I mean, at this point, you're paying an incentive payment that.
But that's the justification in paying the bonus.
That's the justification. I'm just saying bonus. I'm saying it's $1,500 bonus, and it was basically an extra payment for a bonus because of this last year and during this pandemic has been difficult on all segments of the employee base.
Thank you.
I wanted to back up and ask a question on the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
People being in and staying in the hospital longer than usual, is that the 16 cases with COVID? Did that have anything to do with it or not?
Not all of them were hospitalized.
Right,
And so without getting much into HIPAA stuff, I mean,
right.
at the end of the day, it was
Understand.
just,
Some of the
we
16.
have increased claims.
Right,
So, and it cycles us. You know, a few years ago, we had to do the same thing. And this is, I think this year has just been to have a spotlight on the pandemic, and I'm attributing it a lot to that, but there's other circumstances as well.
sure. But I was only aware of those that were in the hospital in serious condition and being taken care of. So that was part of my question. I guess that was my question about the extra 50.
There's been several that have been hospitalized that probably
Right.
nobody knew about. So I'll just put it that way.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, let's move on down to D, which is the commissioners' reports. Would you mind, sir?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. I guess I'm gonna steal some of your thunder because some of us attended all these that I'm gonna say, so, I'll get the jump on you. for
I'll
some of
remember that
these.
next time you go last.
Right,
How's that?
right. So, I'll include us all when I say me or something, so we
Okay,
do
sure.
this. So yes, on, February 15th at 4:20, we met, I went to the rec park and did the pool, walked through that, and then went up to the event park and walked through, and then, later on that evening at around 5:30, I believe it was, we did walk through the high school, some of the new construction. Then on February 16th, we had the budget retreat at 3 o'clock, and then we had our meeting with Representative Clampett at 6 o'clock. So we all did that. So like I said, I'm stealing some of your thunder if you were going to report on that. On February 23rd, 10 o'clock, I had a personnel meeting. And then 12 o'clock, I had well, I guess one few individual things. I had a auto advisory meeting at the Swain County High School, or for the Swain County High School. We did it through a Zoom or one of those computer meetings. And then yesterday at 12 o'clock, I did not participate in the meeting, but tuned in and watched the TDA meeting yesterday. So that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
I handed you guys some resolutions. I had Kevin draw up a couple of resolutions to look at. They're not done by no means or anything, and they're both what we talked about, what I brought up to Representative Clampett about modifying the room occupancy tax law to change it to where we can use that money for, besides just marketing, for tourism and bringing more tourists in here, that there's, because of there's other effects that tourism brings to us. We need to see if we can get that modified, but I know that, when did you say local law had to be presented before the state legislation, like March the 3rd?
March 3rd, yeah.
So we're not gonna have time to get both of these are considered. The other one is a homestead exemption for Swain County residents on their property tax, to where we can either tax people with second homes and these other things more, and somebody just trying to live here that's been living here, their property taxes don't have to go up because the more people coming in and how all that affects. I've got to get with Ben and you other guys. I'll be talking to you too, but I think me and Ben's gonna get together tomorrow and talk more about what we wanted to say. I just wanted you to have this and look at it, and anything you could think of that we might need to put in these resolutions. But like Mr. King said, the state, these are both considered local laws, or for local governments, I guess, or something, just however it is in the state. We don't have time to get these done this year.
There is mechanisms to, if there's another local bill that's dealing with like TDA, for instance, there's a way at the end of it to add maybe that to it. So there may be like a technical correction, I think is the terminology. So there's a way to add it.
If somebody's already,
If there's another bill in place from another local community, then we may can attach some language for us.
Is the municipality coming in with theirs?
I don't know. I've not had any more discussions with them about it.
Okay, but any other municipality in any other county, we could attach to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
so we definitely need to be looking at it. If we can get some of this through this year, I didn't realize the time restraints we had, even when we had our meeting the other night. I don't think none of us were really aware of the time restraints.
That's true.
And it's something different, but why is it not earlier this year than it usually is?
It's usually the middle of April for local bills, but some reason this year it's early. I don't know why. So, well, like I say, there's ways to attach it, we just have to,
Right,
You
we
know,
have to
directly.
find them.
yeah, you'd have to find it.
But any information anybody has on these, get back with us so we can start. At least, I would like to present these sometime pretty quick. That's all I have.
Okay. Danny?
I had a broadband meeting when we had our town meeting with the town, so that was the only meeting I had scheduled. So, missed that one. Did look back at the notes and things, and it was a pretty basic meeting. Still a lot of discussion on how to tap into the grants and the money that's out there. Some moving going on. Did find out that when you look at that, what was it, 39 million that was appropriated from the state? It's interesting that Charter did get monies for Swain County. It was like $3-point-something million, or maybe the 12, I can't remember, but I have a feeling they will be coming in at some point and doing some business in Swain County. It was kind of explained to me, they do have a window of time. It could be over 5 or 6 years, so it may not be sudden, but
Tomorrow.
they are interested in and did receive quite a bit of money for Swain County as a licensed provider. Yeah. So it's encouraging to even see any of the licensed providers go after anything, as long as they don't come in and squelch the local,
Right.
non-licensed that are doing things. But it's at least a little bit of a step forward, I think. And that was the only meeting I've had.
I met with Roger.
You just rode around with
I was
Roger.
with Roger, man.
All the above.
But I did have a question for you, Dan, catch you on that board, probably. And I've seen several people post about the satellite system. Did you know, is it here? I mean, can we get it here?
It's, the one for the school system's a trial,
Okay.
so it's not open to the public yet.
Gotcha.
It's through Elon Musk's
Yes.
system, and it was granted to the school system.
It actually is. You can go on, if you
You
go on his
can.
site, anybody from the public can get it.
Well, I saw it advertised for
Yeah, it's
$99 a
advertised.
month. And I was wondering if has
And how much
anybody
a
got
month?
it?
It's $100 a month and then $500 for upfit. Same,
Your
That's what
equipment
it's called.
costs you about $500 or $400 to get it set up. Okay.
yeah,
I didn't think that was gonna be open to because
they've opened it.
it's a trial run for the school to see if it's gonna work.
Yeah,
So I'd be interested if anybody's tried that out, or maybe, I don't know, if we could try that.
The only report I've seen on it in Canada, they said the speeds were really good with it.
Okay. That's
In
good.
Canada, but
Yeah.
I don't know. He's put a lot of satellites up in the last year. And there's also that Viasat that's putting up a tower in Whittier, which nobody really knew about. Dean got an email. And they are a satellite provider of sorts. I did look at some of their packages. They're a little expensive, but when you type in the Swain County zip code, it doesn't show anything available. But if you type out 28719, it'll show their packages and says they're available. And as far as I know, that tower hasn't even gone up yet, but
No, they're doing the
still doing some research.
impact study.
Impact study, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another possibility that it's kind of interesting to see how it pans out.
Good question.
I saw it floating around, so I thought, 'cause I know you'd mentioned it, and I was like, well, maybe that's out there.
I'm gonna tell y'all, the IT folks we are getting a subscription to
Cool.
just to see what it's gonna,
To see how it does.
see what it's gonna do.
Well, I think it'd be great if we could do it, that way people would know. I mean,
Right.
we'd have a little bit more understanding about it, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, I agree with that.
What are the speeds that they're, do they guarantee a speed, or what is their selling point on their speed?
As far as the
Does
fee
he
goes,
want to say something? Okay.
it's just $100. I don't know, as far as the fees you said?
Speeds.
Speed, oh, okay.
What
We
speed
don't
you're
know. That's what we
advertising
wanna
for
get
your
into. I don't know what they're saying online.
Let's bring Michael in and let him
He's
talk
been-
to us about this. He's anxious back there, I understand.
The Starlink
72.
Very
Elon Musk
impressive.
has basically told his consumers that we should expect 300 meg down by late summer. So, I mean, what I think was important to remember is that elsewhere in the country and in more urban settings, people are used to something close to a terabyte in download speed sometimes, especially if you're in one of the eastern seaboard cities. So he has that on his mind. He's thinking high end, and he's bringing his world to us. So these numbers are going to be crazy, and they are going to be putting a lot of pressure on local competition to up their game. So I think that, yes, the broadband companies are going to be more than happy to get the $9 million stimulus package, and I hope that they're able to take that as far as they possibly can.
One of the problems for Swain County is the topography. Will the satellites solve that, some of that?
I think a lot of people are going to be having to experiment a lot with that because a lot of it's angling. The more satellites that are in the air, the smaller the angle has to be. And Elon's working very hard. Mr. Musk is working very hard on making sure that that angle is as small as possible. Right now, if people that I know live in some of these hollers try to put their satellites up, they might have problems because a lot of people have trees that are literally on the side of their homes. It would be hard in some cases for some people to get this, but in time, I think that will improve, and I think people are going to be hiring a lot of landscapers. But yes, the time is coming that I think we're all going to be having so much better internet.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I am going to lean on Roger because most of these places I was or have heard about and been on Zoom with some other people and Google. So you can get on Google and hold a meeting. So those were some of the things in which I was involved in. Also, I think, we're needing to make a decision, and I will ask Kevin to bring it back to us about, are we going to move into an economic development area, or are we going to, what are we proposing for the county, for the Board of Commissioners? And we haven't talked about it yet, so we just need to bring it back and let us take a look at it and discuss it. So, EDA, not TDA. Economic development, not tourist development. So, okay. These reports are important, and I didn't bring my stuff to give a report. So, as I keep telling people, the work of a commissioner, we're always involved in stuff that you don't always see. And that's the purpose of the reports, and I'm guilty of it tonight. So, okay, do we have any public comments? Thank you. Okay. Donna, are you the only one going to speak? Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, come on up and give your spiel.
Kind of out of my comfort zone somewhat. I talked to Representative Clampett last night. He said, "You'll be fine. Just talk to him like you're talking to your grandparents."
I thought you were going to say grandkids.
Thank Representative Clampett.
Please
for it, would you,
excuse
please?
the maps. We didn't have any internet service. It was down. And
That's a common.
then when we started to print, we got it up just a little while ago, my colored ink was dried out. The devil's been fighting us every step of the way. but we're here to petition the county to adopt a resolution to become a Second Amendment sanctuary county. There are more than 70 counties in the state of North Carolina that already are sanctuary counties. There are counties on that map there that show you that we are in a group of one of 9 counties in the entire state that has no action reported even being started on this. Just one of 9. And the others have started some type of an action or awaiting answers. And Representative Clampett did advise me last night that there is legislation in process on the floor now they're looking at to keep us from possibly having to pay in the state of North Carolina these taxes that are in H.R. 127, the 60% on ammo, 30% on the purchase of a weapon of any kind, and the $600 for the gun, $800 for an insurance policy, different types of things. He said there's legislation working right now to prevent that.
Did he give any indication as to the possibility of passing that piece of legislation?
He didn't tell me nothing about that. He just said, here's a tidbit for you.
Okay.
That this is on the floor. And so that's the one thing I'm not sure that the sanctuary amendment would cover on this. I'm thinking it's just covering, like, if they were to come and try to take the weapons from us at any point. I spoke with Curtis. Curtis said he would not sign on this petition, but he said he would not oppose us if we came before the commissioners. There is 621 signatures on the petition, and there still are petitions out.
This is the petition.
So if we do need any more, we still have petition out being signed.
Okay.
Because we weren't able to reach a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that could not sign it because of their positions, being federal employees and all, that do view the same things that we do. And there are others who were just good old boys and said they're not going to take my guns. They're just not going to. But we just want to petition the county to see if we can get this done, because we're just one of, probably by this time, that map is dated in April of last year. That's the most current we could find.
Okay.
And we're probably one of 25 out of 100 in the state of North Carolina that is not a sanctuary amendment county.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Go ahead.
People saying that they couldn't do it because of their job necessarily. Is there a reason why
Because they worked,
any employee can sign it? I mean, any.
I don't know, that's what we were told.
We cannot sign it because we work for Swain County.
Right.
That's what all.
Is there anything
And the
that would
election-
stop anybody from signing?
That's what we got told
Petition.
several.
I don't know, the election board said they weren't allowed to sign anything like this.
But they
There's a lot
may-
of people that
That
said,
may have been a direction from their board,
I don't know.
which is different than this board.
Yeah,
But like, we talked to the ladies in these offices.
Yeah.
Here in this building. Like, the day that we.
is the finance office
Yeah,
downstairs?
and
or-
they said we can't sign, we work for the county.
Yeah,
That's what we were told.
yeah.
They can't be talking about the Hatch Act, can they? Not on a petition.
I don't
No,
know.
we've not told them.
But we did run into some, so,
Well, I mean, any excuse will do if you don't want to do it. And
Well-
I think we just need to leave it at that, and that they decided not to sign it, and rather than create a, battle with them, so.
I just wanted to bring it up, that if I want to sign it, I will sign it.
Right,
And I want to make sure there is nothing that keeps me from signing it, I'm pretty sure.
no.
And I don't want anybody else saying that they can't do it because
Yeah.
But if anybody finds a reason in saying I can't, they need to let me know.
Yeah, we're just repeating the reasons that we got, so.
Sure. I
I
understand.
just want to make sure people don't believe something that isn't actually true.
Right.
I hate to cut in, but don't forget the business owners that backed out.
Right, the business owners, there's several that,
That's fine, I just want to make sure there's no
Yeah.
law saying that
You're right.
anybody working for the county,
Right.
any government position,
I'm glad to know that myself.
cannot
I'm
sign
glad to know
a
that,
petition.
yeah.
Because somebody else said something to me, and I had told them that I did not believe that was true by any means. And I want it known that it's not true. That if you want to sign a petition like that, you have the right to.
Right.
Good, then if we need any more signatures, we might go back. But my view kind of on this, I've heard a lot of people say, well, this is not going to do any good. It's not worth anything. Well, there's more than 70 counties already apparently that think that it would. If nothing else, it makes a statement, you know, that we're just not going to cooperate with that. It does not mean that we're not going to abide by gun laws. It does not mean that. It means we're not going to let anybody take them from us. And I look at it like it's better to have it and it not be worth the paper that it's written on than to not have it and possibly it could have or would have helped us if needed.
Would you mind reading the petition that the people have signed? Do you have a copy of it, or just read this is what I'm wanting you to read, so we know what the people have heard and read when they get ready to sign.
And just an FYI, we've been going over to Graham County some, and Graham County is a Second Amendment sanctuary county. And they never even had a petition. They went into the commissioner's office and they're like, we're passing it. Didn't even have one.
Okay.
So, Swain County Second Amendment sanctuary petition states, nearly every one of Virginia's 95 counties have been designated as Second Amendment sanctuaries by their local governments to inform their state government that they will not allow their unalienable natural rights to keep and bear arms to be infringed upon. And now North Carolina counties are rapidly following suit along with counties all over America. This petition is a request by we the people of our county commissioners to pass a resolution to make Swain County, North Carolina a Second Amendment sanctuary, thereby publicly and formally affirming the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution regardless of what happens on the state or federal levels. As the Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We request that every Swain County, North Carolina citizen who supports this cause, please sign this petition. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. As was said in the opening of the meeting, this is a work session. We gather information. Our business session, which is in 2 weeks, first of every month, we take these under advisement and vote. What I'm going to do is see if this board wants to act on this or not act on this until, I don't want to confuse people by doing different things that we generally don't do on in a work session. That's my concern. So I will ask for questions or statements or whatever you want to make.
I'd rather wait and do
Okay.
it in a regular meeting and see, and I'd like to see more names on the petition. We serve 14,000 people, and 600 people to me is not a very good representation of the 14,000 people in the county,
Okay.
of what they desire.
Okay.
And that's just, I'd like to see
Take
more
that-
names on it.
Just take that under advisement if you would.
Oh.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I speak on this?
Sure.
Because in fact, I recommended that people came during the work session to show us, not to vote on anything,
Right.
but to bring this to us.
Right.
For us to talk about it, if we want to talk about it, so I don't believe that they came to us asking for us to vote on it tonight.
Right. I was merely explaining our position on this.
But, and also, I would like to say that I feel that we shouldn't have to vote on something like this, because this is part of the Constitution.
Absolutely.
We all took the same oath to stand up for the Constitution, but now we live in a time where we feel like, I don't know why we should even have to
I know,
say we're going to uphold the Constitution again.
I know.
But
I am
That-
66 years old. I had not shot a gun, period, since I was 17. The first one I shot was a .30-06 deer rifle, and it almost put me on the ground. It was not fun. It did not feel good. I didn't think it's anything I was interested in. But in the last probably year, I thought, I am almost 66 years old. My husband is 71 almost. And this day and time, it would serve me best to know how to protect myself the way the world is now. It's not something I was ever interested in before, but I am now. And I went and I got my concealed carry, and I think that's something everybody should do so that they learn the gun safety and the gun laws. I'm not against everything, about the guns. I just want to be able to keep them. And this taxation and all that's being required in this HR 127 would definitely infringe on my right to bear arms, because I wouldn't be able to afford it. I would never be able to afford to keep one. And that's for a lot of people. I wouldn't want my mom or my grandma sitting there with a gun maybe and no ammo because she couldn't afford to buy it at 60% sales tax, or lots of ammo and no gun because they...
Do you have an idea who introduced that piece of legislation
No.
with the taxes?
The new administration, I'm not sure who, but it's
It's
on...
coming from the federal government?
That,
Mhm.
it's in that bill that they did.
There's
House of
another
Representatives?
HR 5717 that I'm not as familiar with as this one, but
Okay.
there's a copy in all those for y'all to look at the bill, and,
Right.
yeah.
I think when you and I talked, I told you he expressed my feeling what I was trying to get across to you. We've sworn to uphold the Constitution. And so that this is coming in, that's why I was interested in who introduced this piece of legislation. Do we know if the state has done anything with this or around this?
All I know is what he told me last night, that they've got some legislation working on the money part of it, that we wouldn't be paying that. Trying to keep the state of North Carolina, the state's rights are somehow involved. But
Go ahead.
I was just gonna, what I see, it's a Representative Jackson Lee, Sheila Jackson Lee, or something like that, a Democrat out of Texas, who it does, and
It's an old bill. I believe it's an old bill. I believe she amended it.
I think
Brought
so.
it back to the floor. I believe it's amended, and the amendment from, I've read it a few times.
I don't know if it even has co-sponsors or not. I mean, I haven't had time to study it,
Okay,
so I don't even.
so it merely had just been introduced.
I think an individual introduced a bill.
Okay, all right, that explains a lot as well. Go ahead.
So, where can one go to sign this petition? Have you got the petition at like certain stores or somewhere?
there's one at Napa Auto Parts, there's one at the Paws and Claws, the feed store down on Jackson Line. We picked up quite a few today. There's one at the Shell station.
Yeah.
Where else we got them right now?
IGA, but she has it behind the counter.
Yeah, it's behind, in the supervisor's office at
It's
IGA.
Smoky Mountain Bank House.
And Eugene Schuler's got one under the counter in the fly fishing shop.
I think, excuse me, I think it's important, the point that Commissioner Burns made. With this petition, we have to find out what people are thinking. It's less than 10% of the population of the county. I'm sure there are others that agree with it, you know, I'm sure.
We have to go door to door.
But it's something that we, in an elected position, have to be representative of the county, not just people who signed a petition. I don't say that in any way, but just merely informative. So that's, you know, that's the thing, and I can guarantee you we'll be discussing this. But I want to thank you,
Yeah.
Donna, and you for just coming in and standing there politely and listening to some of the arguments. I'm sure you've heard a lot of them, and responding to us. So I want to thank you for that.
Well,
The
we're glad to
civil-
be
The
here.
civil manner in which
Yeah.
you presented it.
And we will still be gathering
Yes.
signatures
Do that,
because
please, yes.
it's so hard with the COVID thing going
Oh, I
on
know.
to get everybody to come to you. And up here in these mountains, it's a little difficult to go door to door. And in these days and times, it's a little bit scary to go
Yeah.
door to door when you're talking about something like this.
Have
So,
you had anybody in the group that could possibly do it online, where people could do the signing online? That would,
yeah,
reach a lot of
we
people
might just
that don't
go up
get out.
online with it right now to
that would be
finish
good.
it
I
off.
think it'd be helpful if you can do that.
Of course, me, somebody would have to help to me.
Right, but a lot of people can do that. I can't either, but I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'd like to get you to bring forth maybe a resolution of some sort.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought
Maybe some
about.
examples from other counties and take it, and bring forth something for us to look at.
Okay, we can do that.
Great, good.
Should we just bring it to Cindy's office?
Yes,
For y'all?
just bring it to Cindy's office and she can share it with us, and
Okay,
that way
we
there's
can
no
do that.
time
Yeah,
constraints
we'll
on
be
it.
happy to. We're gonna keep going
Good.
till we get it done.
Yeah, and I think Kenneth raises another good point, and that's, you know, some of the other counties that are doing this, you know, if you can talk to their manager or someone else and just get an idea and a feel for what they're looking at and what they're doing and what they think their county is asking for.
Yep.
So it's just information that we would like,
That's fine.
okay?
Whatever you need, whatever you need. We're good.
Okay, well, whatever we need. Well, we were talking about a raise the other day that, for the county commissioners.
Well,
and
I've got to get one too. I've got to get my job back.
We were just talking about that.
Thanks, guys.
We understand.
I
Thank you very
appreciate
much for coming in, all of you.
Thank you.
You too, seated in the back. Thank you, guys. Okay, then let's go back to informal discussion. Do we have any informal discussion here? Anybody? No informal discussion? Jeez. I don't want to see you guys hanging out in the parking lot talking after this meeting then. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Just, maybe an informal discussion on what was just discussed.
Sure.
So what would this, what is this supposed to do that's not already done? I'm not quite sure I understand.
May I ask?
Sure, go ahead.
It, to me, it just makes a statement more or less. I mean,
Yeah.
lots of people say it doesn't mean anything, but I would beg to differ on that because there's cities and counties countrywide that are sanctuary cities that do not follow federal law. And to me, it's all what we make it mean. And there's lots of things going on that it's sort of like marijuana is illegal by federal law, but other states have made it legal within their state. So any statement that we can have and say, hey, we believe your law is unconstitutional, I believe is something we can do. And it would say, we believe it's unconstitutional to do this, if that's what we believe. And I'm not trying to say what you believe, I'm just saying that to me is what having something like this would do. And the more, if the whole state's in, maybe the state would take a stand to do what it needed to do with its own sovereignty and rights that it should do. It should control it.
I kind of think it's kind of like, and what Ken said, is the same way which she went and got all the signatures to say that, hey, we want to see this done, should be the same way the state looks at counties. So if you've got 74 counties in there, it says, hey, we don't want this to happen, the state should rule on that as, you know, a 2/3 or 3/4 of our citizens don't want this. So I think it does make it sets a precedent. It's like any resolution we got. Resolutions don't do anything. They just say, hey, this is what we agree with. So when it comes down to it, they know where we stand. So, and I also think it's kind of ironic that we have to do this. And we try to say that they can't take our guns when it's been tested so much, you know. And people say, well, it will never happen. Well, go over to Australia.
Well,
They took every one of their guns and taxed them out the yin-yang on anything that they had. So it's not, you know, it's one of those things that, and we think about deer hunting and all that stuff, but that constitutional right was never made about hunting or anything. It was exactly what this law right here, this is why you bear arms, honestly. I mean, it's the truth. It's kind of weird and scary, but it's
Mr. Chairman, again, I guess my question would be, so why don't we have a resolution that we support the entire Constitution? I mean, we basically have already done that by swearing an oath to it. So we've already sworn an oath to a Constitution. It seems like kind of just a little bit of political maneuvering that this board has not been a part of to pick out one amendment. Why not pick out the Bill of Rights? That's the first 10 amendments. Why not pick out 27 of them? Of course, a couple of them have been changed over the years. I mean, why are we picking one and not all of them?
I think it's
And I
'cause this
think that
one's been
Haywood
tested.
County, I think they have that down. It seems like I remember that when that came out, Haywood County supported the Bill of Rights.
I'm willing to support the Bill of Rights.
But don't we already do that, I guess is what I'm
Well,
thinking.
we're supposed to, but I don't believe we do, and that's why people come to us with these, because there's already laws that, which I feel and other people feel is unconstitutional, and other people feel aren't unconstitutional. But that's why we have constituents coming to us, bringing us stuff like it. It's not, to me, it's not political posturing whenever they're really, I mean, they brought us a bill that's going to be heard. It's going to be heard on the floor. Will it not be heard I mean, is there still a chance? It might not be heard. It's been presented.
It's in
So
the
they've
judicial
already
committee.
started the process of doing it. They might not do it, but they've started the process of doing it. And everybody said that they want to do it, that the people that's in power in the federal government has said they want to do it. So I mean, that's their fears, and I feel that we have the responsibility of at least listening to it. It shouldn't be a political, thrown up as a political thing. If it's a true concern of theirs, we shouldn't throw it up as political nonsense, to me. That's my opinion on it.
well, and I think I have to agree with that, not that I'm disagreeing with your cohort there, but what I'm saying is people can swear to uphold the Constitution and defend the Constitution, and then we have a January 6th. I would guarantee you that everybody who was inside that building said that they would uphold the Constitution and protect the Constitution.
Well, if we go down to January 6th, that circle here, we're going to have to go way back before any of the January the 6th, if we're talking about the so-called insurrection. Because those people were protesting something, and what you believe happened there might be different of what I believe happened there. Because I seen stuff that showed people being let in that building, and they wasn't.
I'm not trying to get into a historical debate. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm wondering, and this goes back to what Danny said. With 600 signatures, and I guess that's what they said they had, but with 600 signatures, are there 600 people on the other side to whom this would create fear for various groups of people? I don't know, I'm asking. So I think that our decision to look at this and talk about this among ourselves and all of that kind of stuff so we could reach a conclusion and move on it is right. I think I'm with you in that anybody who has reason to be afraid, whether it's real or not, I think we need to listen to it. And I agree with that.
I had, looking online at, I was told that this was going to come up, I looked at the counties to see how many counties did it. And I looked at, Macon County had an article in the Smoky Mountain News. They revised theirs. They voted down the first resolution. The resolution that they brought into them to sign, that they built up, had some things in there that they didn't like about them would actually break state law, and that they swore to uphold the laws of North Carolina when they were elected, and they put their hand on that Bible. So they did agree to a resolution and do one, but they took and changed the wording and took some of the wording out that basically said, well, your county would deny any funding that would have anything to do with taking guns. You wouldn't fund like the sheriff's department if they chose to pick up the guns. You would deny county funding to anything that would affect that. And they changed theirs around with their lawyer that advised them that they shouldn't have signed the first one. And they did sign it, but they altered it some, and I think other counties have done the same thing. They said, we stand for the Second Amendment right, but some of the wording in this we can't stand with. I think is
and that may
something
be
that I've been reading on some of the stuff that's
one of the things that we want to look at.
I'd ask Kevin if he would get a copy of that, the Macon counties, for us to look at and see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to look and see what others sign. And the other question I had is, what do we do with the municipalities? Is it up to downtown Bryson City to adopt this, or we just adopting it for we can't adopt it for Bryson City? So have they thought about it and approached the city on it? Do you know?
I have no idea.
They should. I mean, they should face this the same as we do. I mean, they should make a decision that would bear more weight and say, well, our municipality says we agree, our county says we agree, and I'm sure they've run into that in other states. I mean, other states with other counties have to have, most of us have municipalities, and I was wondering how they would handle that.
Right.
And I meant to ask her that, and I forgot all about it.
Well, and it's interesting how many resolutions, different worded resolutions, the state's going to wind up with.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting that if they don't mean anything, why is it a big deal about getting lawyers and everybody? I mean,
I think it's an ethical thing for some, as far as what they chose to honor. If they signed it and it did happen, then they're bound, well, they could come back to you and say, you signed that resolution, you didn't do this. I think it comes down to just an ethical thing, as to what you swore to when you took that oath.
We can't bind any other sitting commissioners to something. we
No,
agree
they
to.
could come,
Anyways,
be
so-
changed at any point, yeah.
Right.
I think that, it's kind of a gray line to me, gray area. If the state's not following the Constitution, do we follow the state or the Constitution?
Both.
I swore into the Constitution, right? I mean, so, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that looks like, and I hope we never find out, but am I gonna follow the state, or am I gonna go follow the Constitution? That's, to me, a big question. I don't know.
Well, they had a civil war over
I
that.
know, well, that's what happened before.
But in a
That's
county
why
like
this was
this,
written.
if something comes up and you're defying, say, the state or the federal government, there's a heck of a big portion of our funding comes from those sources.
Exactly.
that keep that
Mr.
out.
Chairman, I believe I can answer everybody's question.
Okay.
We say a pledge to that flag, and we say the Constitution that which it stands.
And that's kind of what I think. I think I'm going with the
So
Constitution.
that flag right there is the one we pledge allegiance to and follow the Constitution of that flag.
That's what I look at.
But we also did say we would follow the North Carolina Constitution when we were sworn in.
We did.
And which, I mean, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here on stuff, but I always do. Constitution was something we're supposed to follow a long time ago, and we've drifted so far away from it, I don't know if we will ever be back to it. And lots of it is difference in interpretation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lots of people don't believe. They believe it means, one thing means something, and other people believe it means something else. And we have issues with that. And then that's when it gets back to politics. That's when everybody starts ripping us apart back to the political divide part of it. But
Well, I hate for us to be sucked into anything that ends up being a political fight, because we have, I've been very, I tell a lot of people how absolutely thrilled I am about this board does not do that. And I don't want us to get involved in doing that. I don't want us to get involved in that. We all swear to the Constitution. It's covered in the Constitution. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 are all 27. Like I said, a couple of them have went one way and got changed right back the other way, but there's, if you support the Constitution, you already support the Second Amendment and the First and the 10th and the 27th. And you support them all. So
supposed to, we're supposed to.
you're supposed to.
And
Well, I only speak for myself. I believe I do. So that's because I pledge that. And you put your hand on your Bible to swear that. So for me, I do support the flag and the Constitution. I don't need to have one picked out. I support them all. I support the entire Constitution of the United States of
I support the
America.
entire Constitution also. But so do these people that wrote this bill. That's the scary thing.
I'm sorry.
So do the people that wrote this bill.
Yeah, they believe they do.
That's what I'm,
They believe they've got to, and they, in fact, when you go and look at some of these bills that keep getting passed, and it's not just one side.
that's what I'm saying. It's all,
Over
and I'm not a
the last
political at all.
60 years, or
I don't even think it goes on political wise. I'm just, I know the Constitution. I mean, I know, what it says. Not all of it, but I know what it says, and I've seen so much of this. I think little by little is how we got to where we're at, and little by little is gonna get us somewhere else. And we got to take a stand somewhere. I mean, I support 100% the whole Constitution. But if this is being tested, then this is where my stand's at. If it's freedom of speech, that's where my stand's at. If it's whatever, the Bill of Rights, that's where my stand's at. So, I mean, and I get what you're saying. We already do it. I think it's just putting it on paper saying, hey, we're here, and we're standing.
most resolutions are made to make statements, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
They're not laws, they're not.
They're just a piece
Yeah,
of
they're
paper,
not
really.
laws.
They're a statement, yeah, a statement of your beliefs,
Yeah.
what you stand for. But I was thinking, and, you know, you look at the gun laws that we have, and we're trying to change some, and I fully stand for the right to bear arms in the Second Amendment, but I was thinking the other day, when our forefathers wrote that, I'm not sure they had in mind somebody with an AK-47 with 1,000 rounds as protecting myself. You know, some of that stuff is, you know, you got to look back when that was written and what it actually meant. They had a little flintlock pistol or a shotgun to protect themselves, and that's what they wanted to take.
But with that said, sorry to just,
No, go ahead.
I'm not trying to interrupt you. Back then, they had the same stuff that the military, the government-owned military had.
Mhm.
And these little so-called military-style rifles that people's got now, they're ARs and stuff, they are not military-grade rifles. That is not true.
No,
They
no.
are not. So
I have a hard
it's,
time.
there's changes with the times,
Sure.
but Also, but then that's also.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I can ramble on forever. I think
There's a
it's just
lot of
let you
debate
talk.
there,
Lots
and that's
of
where where I try to draw a line is, golly, what do I think is, and it all falls into it, but the adage is, well, if they take one particular gun, they'll take them all. I know that's the
It's the,
theory behind all that.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of complicated mess, guys, but,
I believe if
Let's
they
say
just
for me,
take all the guns from the criminals, we'd probably be all right.
And that, I know, is part of the problem
I'll
too.
sign that one.
Laws are for law-abiding citizens.
right, criminal
Criminals will not
Let's
obey
make a
the law.
resolution that says
Okay,
we agree
we're
with all
going in
criminals.
circles,
Yeah, I
guys.
think we could debate that
We're
forever.
going in circles. Just keep your eyes and ears open and let's see what we've got. I just think that we've talked this until we think about it some more and get some more information, then we can talk about it again. Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a motion on the floor,
Second, Mr. Chairman.
and we now have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, good. Are we off there?